Our daily Bible reading for October 14th. Our reading today comes from Colossians chapter 4. We'll be reading verses 1 through 9. Masters, treat your bondservants justly and fairly, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. Continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. At the same time, pray also for us, that God may open to us a door for the word, to declare the mystery of Christ, on account of which I am in prison, that I may make it clear which is how I ought to speak. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Tychicus will tell you all about my activities. He is a beloved brother and faithful minister and fellow servant in the Lord. I have sent him to you for this very purpose, that you may know how we are, and that he may encourage your hearts. And with him Onesimus, our faithful and beloved brother, who is one of you. They will tell you of everything that has taken place here. A few thoughts for today. Many employers have a morality clause built into their contracts with those they hire. It usually states that those in their employment may be terminated due to behavior that disparages the company. It is a reminder that even in our earthly realm, there are codes with which individuals must conduct themselves. Some versions use the term redeeming the time to reflect the idea of making the most of every opportunity. The King James, American Standard, and Revised Version, for example. Making the most of every opportunity carries with it the concept of considering others above our own personal interests. Why? Because their souls may be in peril, whether they are those outside of Christ and in need of the gospel, or those within who need encouraging. We ought to always remember that there are those who are watching our every move. Paul uses the example of salt that should season our speech. Jesus used the same analogy in the Sermon on the Mount. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has become tasteless, how will it be made salty again? It is good for nothing any more, except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. Matthew 5:13. The value of salt and its properties have been known since antiquity as that which preserves. That is our nature of our speech as well. Our words should be that which preserves and not destroys. Our speech should be as that of an ambassador doing the work of the master and representing his will. The old law required sacrifices be made with salt. Every grain offering of yours, moreover, you shall season with salt, so that the salt of the covenant of your God shall not be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. Leviticus 2:13. In fact, the relationship of God to his people is referred to as a covenant of salt. All the offerings of the holy gifts which the sons of Israel offer to the Lord, I have given to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a perpetual allotment. It is an everlasting covenant of salt before the Lord to you and your descendants with you. Numbers 18:19. A question of the day. In view of the importance of salt, how should our speech be toward others? And finally, a thought for today. Knowing how to respond should not be reactionary, but proactive. We should prayerfully start the day asking for God's guidance and wisdom in our lives. And those are our thoughts for today, October 14th.